Recording in progress.
Afternoon. It's 5 o'clock. Services Committee. We do have a quorum, so we will call this meeting to order. Will you take the roll?
Brenham,
Here.
Teratio,
Here.
Barron,
Here.
English,
Present.
Newton. We have a quorum.
Thank you. That will bring us to item 2, the approval of our minutes from November 21st, 2024. Those are on pages 6 through 8 of the packet. Is there a motion regarding the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion, updates, changes? Hearing and seeing none, we'll take the roll to approve the minutes.
Brenham,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes?
Barron,
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
That brings us to item 3, the adoption of the agenda. Are there any staff requests regarding the agenda?
There are no requested changes.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion from the committee regarding the agenda?
Move to approve.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we will vote to adopt the agenda.
Brenham,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes?
Barron,
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. That brings us to item 4, our items for action. 4A is from the Department of Public Works, the airport. There's the South Pickens Townhome Development Easement. And would we like staff to speak to that?
Yes, Madam Chair, if you would recognize Mr. Peter Savalas from the airport to speak to this agenda item.
Mr. Ceballos?
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. This is a navigation easement that has been forwarded to us for council's approval. It is a easement that protects the airport for against any complaints against aircraft operation, protects the airspace above the townhome development. And easement also recognizes the right of the aircrafts to cause noise, vibration, fumes, and any interference with sleep and communications and other effects associated with the normal operation of the airport. This is a long time coming. I was actually made aware of it last year, but this is at the offering of the actual developer themselves. They offered this easement to help, I guess you could say, hold harmless the airport and the county, and we highly support it.
Thank you. Questions from council, committee members? Okay, I have a couple of things. So just to be clear for the public, the development is actually in the city of Columbia. So that
Yes, ma'am.
property is city of Columbia property, or within the city of Columbia. And then the other question that I have around that is, do we know if the developer has made contact with any of the neighborhood groups or anything?
No, ma'am, I am not aware of that.
Okay. Just always like to know and to note that. All right, anything further from the committee? Okay, yes, Mr. Branham?
So is this a height restriction? That's a key, 35 feet, was it?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
There is a threshold of a minimum threshold height. That is because of the development, the height of the buildings that we're talking about. They're 2-story buildings, so just to protect the airspace above it. So it's the idea is that with this development going in the area of the approach to the north end of the runway, that it allows full use of the airfield so that no one can come back and say, well, and this is typical that happens. You have developments that try to get placed underneath approaches to the airports, and then they try to make adjustments to the skies and all that. This actually protects that, so.
Okay, thanks. And then, so just out of curiosity, who would be the enforcing entity, you know, if you need enforce a violation of the easement?
They would come to us. We would have to keep an eye on it myself, just to make sure that nothing that doesn't grow up above that, so.
It gets recorded in the Register of Deeds office?
Yes, sir, it does. It
okay.
is part of their permitting process.
Yeah.
The city of Columbia actually is requiring it, so they're
Oh,
gonna be.
Thank you so much.
And then again, just for the sake of the public, you know, our airport is not like CAE, and we typically do not have any flights coming in and out during what we would think of as normal sleeping hours.
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay, great.
But understanding that the airport is open for 24-hour operations, so there could be a possibility that something comes in unscheduled, but typically no. They normally come in within the amount of hours the airport is served.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, hearing and seeing none, we'll take the vote.
Brenham,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes?
Barron,
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
For that. That brings us to 4B, and I'll just say that 4B and C are sisters to each other, and so really C kind of overtakes B, so I will move to table 4B. Second. For any discussion, or I guess we can't. Oh, until, I guess until maybe the resolution of, can we say that? Does it have to be a date? Sorry.
Madam Chair, I think since what's in B is actually included in C,
Right.
you can really just move to rescind B.
Okay.
So B will be gone.
Okay.
And it'll only be C.
Okay, so I will withdraw my first motion and then move to rescind 4B.
I withdraw the motion I made to approve it. Did I make that motion? No, I didn't. That was the other agenda
Yes.
item, sorry.
Okay, did you second it? Okay, so, okay, great. So moved and seconded to rescind 4B. We'll take the vote.
Brenham,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes?
Barron,
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. That will bring us to 4C, and the only action that I would like to take on this item is just to clarify the motion a little bit. So I'll read it out. For the purpose of preserving the historical character of the Olympia neighborhood, I move to within 12 months create a neighborhood character overlay in tandem with an update to the neighborhood plan for the Olympia neighborhood. During this time, a moratorium on new construction, rezoning, demolition, and substantial rehabilitation, which would be 50% or more of the lot area, building square footage, or change in use will be in place. This was submitted in October, on October 15th, and you can see information on pages 15 through 26 for that item. What I would like to submit as an amendment, I guess, to that motion would be that we don't necessarily need to call this a moratorium, but we rather could call it a pause. And I would love to hear any feedback from staff about the timing. So, you know, my thoughts in submitting the motion or creating the motion really were within 12 months. So whenever the neighborhood character overlay is completed, then this pause would unpause. So if it was 6 months, then the pause would end in 6 months. If it takes 9 months, then the pause would end then. So that is my thinking in terms of the period of time. I'd also just like to state as a matter of, I guess, record for this area, for those who are not familiar with Olympia, Olympia is a fairly small area. It's a pretty small acreage, I guess you could think of it that way. And it is almost entirely fully developed. I would say that the number of empty lots within that area are few, if any. And so really, this is not an attempt to keep development from happening or building from happening. It is rather an attempt to keep historical homes from being demolished without review or being significantly modified without review, and to allow for any future uses to be reviewed, so that we're not essentially taking a historic home and then turning it into, say, an apartment house of eight units, for instance. So that's just a little background from me and what the neighborhood is looking for, and to kind of create some points of perhaps discussion on this item. So I'm happy to hear from my colleagues. Yes, Ms. English.
Only question that I have, and when I was looking through this, I didn't see the actual layout or the areas within Olympia being affected or by this, the parameters on this, what streets or, because I know even in that area, there's a rock quarry back there, and I just didn't know how far this would extend.
So, staff to speak? I'll just say that there's a Mill Village plan that was conducted with the City of Columbia, between Richland County and the City of Columbia. And I believe that we would use that, the parameters outlined in that, and I don't have that pulled up in front of me.
That's okay, I can pull it up. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything further? Yes, Mr. Brennan?
I know that the movement intentions are to, not have this pause be in place any longer than it needs to be. So I just wondered if the county attorney maybe had any suggestions for some language that would help make that clearer. And then potentially need to keep a maximum time period in place in the event the overlay is not adopted within 12 months.
I'd have to review it and give legal advice on that issue, as far as the exact time period. So that's not a question I could really give you an answer to right now.
Would I just wondered the movements be receptive to a friendly amendment that would just more clearly state that upon the adoption of the overlay and the neighborhood plan update, the pause would end?
I would accept that, yes.
Okay, then that would be my motion.
Okay. So did staff catch those adjustments?
Can you please repeat that?
Can you look back at the audio? Okay. I'll be happy to go over it again if you need me to after that.
Okay, so I guess just to make sure that I move to accept this. I move to approve item C with the adjustments that we have made in terms of considering this a pause rather than a moratorium, and then Mr. Branham's friendly amendment. Any further discussion? Or sorry, that's the motion. Is there a second? Okay. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll take the vote.
Brenham,
No.
Teratio,
Yes?
Barron. English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. That will bring us to item 5, items pending analysis. On these items, no action is required. So just making sure I have it in front of me. So the 5A is direct the administrator to research and present to council current laws and benefits of enacting impact fees in Richland County The purpose is to help reduce the tax burden on residents by not having to pay the complete cost of development in Richland County. We do have some support on pages 27 through 32. So with that information in front of us, do we have any staff that wants to speak to that, or?
Madam Chair, both of those items, A and B, are within the staff communication there. It talks about the next update would come at your February meeting. So there's no new additional information to add to the packet information, other than that information will be ready to be brought before the body and spoke to in February. And that's actually for items 5A and 5B.
Thank you. Do committee members want to speak or ask questions or anything? Okay. Mr. Brenham?
I'll just briefly remind that one of the things I was looking for after hearing from the consultant was that we wanted more information about the revenue that would potentially be generated by non-residential development. And so look forward to seeing some of that. And there's probably some of that here in what you provided. I did give it a quick look over. Thank you.
Thank you. That will bring us to item C. Move to direct the county administrator to commission an analysis of the county's residential development permitting processes and standards related to noise, flooding, air pollution, and other environmental impacts in order to ensure that the county has adopted and is following the most current industry best practices to reduce negative environmental impacts. This may include recommendations for improving and enhancing the county's code and development design manual, comprehensive plan, zoning map, and related documents. That supporting information can be found on pages 34 and 35 of our packet. And I think this is incredibly timely. So does any updates from staff on this?
On page 35, it talked about the next steps that for general consideration by this committee and ultimately council. And then it just talked about if there were the need for a more in-depth analysis beyond what staff could do with these next steps, then we were talking about budgetary impacts, which would be appropriate for the next fiscal year's budget.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the committee? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, that will bring us to 5D. I move that the county consider developing a neighborhood master plan that establishes policies and goals related to preservation and development in the Ballantyne community with the goal to preserve and promote the desired character of the community while also conserving and protecting the waters and watershed of Lake Murray. Would the maker of the motion like to speak to that?
No, I don't have anything new today.
Anything from
No, there'll just be an item that we will be taking up as it's been assigned from council to the committee, but there are no specific items to discuss for the staff to the committee this afternoon.
Thank you. That will bring us to item 6, adjournment.
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll take the vote to adjourn.
Brenham,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes?
Barron, English.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thanks, everybody.